What we're looking at today, the guys are going to install the panels for us on the roof. They're going to put 2 panels of our 1 metre square panels side by side. They're going to get them on nice and safely, fasten them to the roof, and then show us how it's done.
Brilliant. Now, for close-up work, we've got Helen here in the camera, so you can see on the screen everything the guys are doing close up. Steve, it's very important, obviously, before you even get on the roof, that you need to basically do some sort of survey to make sure you know what you're dealing with.
Absolutely. Before we even sell the system to the customer, we have a series of steps we have to take to conform to the MCS standards, from design through to informing the customer properly about what the system performance is going to be, making sure it's appropriate to the property. Installation-wise, we have a couple of straightforward issues. Access, first of all, I'm stood on a scaffold here, obviously. We've got a handrail at the front, we've got rails and edge protection, and we're taking that as red, clearly, because it's a demo, but that's key. And another point to make about the roof, these panels are going to be there for a long time. So we want to make sure that the roof has got at least as good a chance of lasting that long as the panels. So if your roof's in poor condition and only has a couple of years life in it, as we've done here, we'd re-roof it before we start.
Brilliant. Now, Gary, the manufacturer's instructions, very important to follow those.
Indeed, yes. It gives all the guidelines on the health and safety aspects, lifting the panels, the weight of the panels, so the guys know if they need a pulley or anything to get it on the roof, what access machines they'll need. It also shows them how to install it, clearances all around the panels, everything like that.
And probably the most critical thing is actually the warranty will be null and void if you don't follow it. And
indeed, yeah. Right at the back of the instruction panel, or instruction booklet, you've got the guarantee form or the benchmark form. And they put the serial numbers from the panels onto there, send it off to Worcester Bosch, register it, job done.
Brilliant. All right, guys, talk us through what you're going to do.
Smash in. Thanks, Dave. Well, we're installing at this corner of the roof here 2 Worcester Bosch panels, and Blue Peter style, we've already started because we haven't got time to do it completely from scratch without losing your attention. So 2 panels side by side on a pair of rails, and the bottom rail's already fixed here. On the top rail, we've left a slate off here so you can see how the roof hook is attached, and it's screwed here into the rafter. The rafter is directly below the roofing felt here, screwed with stainless steel coach bolts directly into pre-drilled holes. Very important that those holes are pre-drilled. Rafters on modern houses are pretty narrow. You start putting big chunky screws like that straight in without pre-drilling it, you're going to split it. So we can then slide down the slate that's above it, and we've maintained the waterproof integrity of the roof. Okay, we'll just attach the rail to that now.
Steve, there's obviously a thing, you're clambering up and down the roof, you're moving the tiles about. There's a chance you're going to break some tiles. You presumably always carry spares of whatever the tiles are.
Absolutely. Not everybody's as nimble as Nick and I, so we do occasionally get breakages. We just nip to the van and
see, you've won your battle with anorexia anyway, so... And these systems look incredibly easy.
Yes.
They are, aren't they?
Extremely easy. It is simply Big Boys Meccano. We've made it. Why make it hard when you're up on a roof?
Right.
It's
but obviously you've got to be trained to do the installation.
Oh, definitely, yes. Training is the key thing with this lot.
Right, OK, we've got Adam from Easy MCS here. Well, during the run of the show, we've got an offer on Easy MCS training. So if you want to know more about that and the training for installation, have a word with Adam and he can take your details and sort that out for you. And in fact, just while the guys are doing this, anything you want to know about any of the demonstrations we have, you talk to some of my colleagues wearing the rather nice blue ties and the blue scarves. They'll scan your passes for you and send more information to you. OK, Steve, where are we now? OK,
we've fixed that rail. It took moments and just a 5mm Allen key. A nice feature of this system is these little boys here, anti-slip devices, which conveniently locate on the rail and allow us to fit the panel in the right position, line them all up conveniently. So we'll grab the first panel now, Nick.
Do you, just while you're grabbing that, these things, would you carry them up on a ladder, or how would you get them up to the roof?
Well, one of the advantages of this particular panel is its small size and weight. So it is a much less onerous task to get it on the roof, but we would have a hoist as a matter of course for panels.
And obviously, when you get it up there, you're going to have a pair of hands at least on it, because high winds and so on, you don't want these things flying around.
That's right, that's right. It's obviously not particularly heavy, but it is a sail in high wind on top of a roof. We'll actually put this at that side, Nick, because that's where we started with the
Steve,
clamps.
do you need planning permission?
Normally, no. Solar panel installation, both PV and thermal, comes under a permitted development rule. As long as we conform to the MCS standards, then it's allowed without planning permission and can be notified after the fact.
Gary, this looks very different to the flat plate solar system. What is the difference here?
Well, this is flat plates.
Right.
The difference you've got is a flat plate here is a metal plate with tubes underneath it,
Right.
and the fluid, the solar fluid, passes through it.
Right.
Or you have the evacuated tubes,
Right.
which is, again, a different type.
But also versus just traditional flat plate as well.
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah. We call it flat plate. It's the metal plate is flat with
Right.
glass above it to let the sunshine go through.
Right. Okay. Now, what about optimum pitch of roof and where it's facing and so on? Is there, how do you overcome the fact that it's not the ideal roof?
Okay, if we could get the ideal roof, it would be south-facing, 35, 40 degrees
Right.
for the UK market. If you're not going to get that kind of angle, what you'd be looking for is south-southeast, round to west, and then from 30 up to 60 degrees, depending on whether you're doing a swimming pool, domestic water, or wherever else you want to put the heat.
But supposing you can't find that either. I mean,
Well, in that case, then, we do an A-frame system, which you could
Right.
actually put onto a flat roof or a garden.
okay.
So that's ideal for swimming pools, where the swimming pool is sort of remote from the house. A-frames are tucked around the back of it, perfect angle, perfect direction, job done.
So you've not come up with anything against anything yet you can't do. And if you have, you're not going to tell us, maybe. I don't know.
We've come up with some very interesting ones that have teased us challenges, but we've overcome, I would say, 99% of them.
Right. Okay. Great. Right. So presumably these need to be connected somehow.
That's right, Dave. We put two panels together here, and the hydraulic connections are at the top and bottom, right and left of each panel. In this particular system, we have a little hydraulic connection hose here and a spring clip. This simply slides over the connection, put with that spring clip in place, pull the green pin, and that spring steel makes the seal. I'm not going to do it now because we'll never get it back off.
Correct.
Which is a good thing, I guess.
It is. And also, as Steve just said, there's no tools required for that one. So
Right.
the only tools he really needs, other than the tools for doing the roofing work, would be a 5mm Allen key for this
Right.
system.
And presumably, like with all flat pack things and things you get, you would check all of this before you get it up onto the roof.
Exactly. Familiarity with the system you're installing is key. If you know what you're expecting to packet, you know you're not missing anything, and try not to drop the bolts off the roof.
Now, you also have to fit a sensor.
Yes.
What does that do?
Right, the sensor in this system allows the control unit to see how hot the panel is. When we get the panel 8 degrees hotter than the cylinder, which is over here, we can then pump the fluid from the roof down to the cylinder. If the panels get within 4 degrees of the cylinder temperature, we risk the chance of taking the heat back out of the cylinder and putting it back on the roof. So that's the job of the two sensors.
What would happen if you don't fit the sensors?
It won't work.
It just won't work.
It
It's
just
as simple
won't
as
work,
that. Right.
yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. Sorry, Steve.
Okay, another word about the hydraulic connections. Not only do we have to connect the panels together, but obviously we've got to connect the pipework between the panels and the cylinder and pump station. To get that safely into the house without leaving a leak in your roof, we use something like this. This is a proprietary solar flashing kit. We replace a slate in the roof with this, cut out appropriate diameter in this silicone piece here to maintain the waterproof integrity of your roof.
And how will RHI impact this?
RHI will have a massive impact. At the moment, there's a lot of guys who don't see much benefit because of the payback side on solar. However, when RHI kicks in the way we'd like it to kick in, which I'm really hoping it will, this is going to go flying because we're going to get the RHI tariff back for it, and that's going to be fantastic for solar thermal.
Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to imagine that we've got our system now up and running, and presumably, as you said, it goes through into the roof, as it were, and then we go in to commission the system, get it started, and we'll fill and flush, and we'll see that in a little bit of time. But
Yes.
in the meantime, is there anything else you want to say, Steve, before
No, only that we would fill and flush while we still have roof access, so we know that the system's under pressure.
Right, so before you
if there
take
were
the
any
scaffolding
leaks,
down,
we
make
can
sure
get
it
that.
works.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Okay.